It was a fun day in college football. There was some chaos. We're going to talk about that in our headlines a little bit later.
Yeah.
In this hour. But there was, during the day of college football, there was a big piece of political news that dropped.
Yes.
And that was that Donald Trump named Cash Patel to lead the FBI. Now, this has been rumored, I think, for a week or two. And there was already some hyperventilating on the left about this potentiality because Cash Patel represents another disruptor added to the cabinet, which, Rachel, you referred to earlier this week in a conversation with me as shaping up to be the Justice League.
Yeah. I mean, this is an incredible... whenever I look at the wall, it's incredible to see some of the faces up there. And Cash Patel is making so many of the right people nervous and uncomfortable and unhappy that you just got to believe this is the right guy for the job. By the way, they're trying to say he's not qualified. The guy's qualifications are more than enough to run this agency. Here is a flashback to Cash Patel talking about what he would do to hold the deep state accountable. Watch.
You need
Yeah. That is your new FBI director. Not Christopher Wray. Cash Patel. A guy who literally just said, we need somebody in there to declassify things at a moment's notice. Just an office to declassify stuff. And I like the sound of that. Whoa. Oh, boy. Because, actually, you know what? I'm going to touch on it just a little bit because I may make a whole separate video on this because there are some people who have left this country, Ellen DeGeneres, that, my personal opinion is that she didn't leave just because Trump won. She left because she's worried about what may come out because Trump won. I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist. I don't have any evidence to back that up, okay? That's just me talking out the side of my neck, all right? Just my own personal opinion. This is what Trump had to announce. I am proud to announce that goodness gracious, yeah, I'm sure I probably butchered that. Cash Patel will serve as the next director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Cash is a brilliant lawyer, investigator, and America First fighter who has spent his career exposing corruption, defending justice, and protecting the American people. He played a pivotal role in uncovering the Russia hoax, standing as an advocate for truth, accountability, and the Constitution. Oh, let me put my face on the screen there. Cash did an incredible job during my first term, where he served as Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, Deputy Director of National Intelligence, and Senior Director for Counterterrorism at the National Security Council. Cash has also tried over 60 jury trials. This FBI will end the growing crime epidemic in America, dismantle the migrant criminal gangs, and stop the evil scourge of human and drug trafficking across the border. Cash will work under our great Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to bring back fidelity. I can't talk today. I'm just stumbling all over my words. I'm sounding like Joe Biden today, man. Goodness gracious. Bravery and integrity to the FBI. Yeah, man. This team that he is putting together is looking to be absolutely amazing. And, one of the barometers that I have for Trump's picks as to whether or not they're good picks is whether or not the mainstream media panics. And let me tell you something. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, are they panicking. From Bolton to everybody, you name the person, they are panicking over Cash Patel. And that is a great sign. As a matter of fact, here's a couple of clips.
Andrew, I just want to start first with you and just get your reaction to this news tonight.
Yeah, well, it's a terrible development for the men and women of the FBI and also for the nation that depends on a highly functioning, professional, independent Federal Bureau of Investigation. The fact that Cash Patel is profoundly unqualified for this job is not even like a matter for debate. So I think what we should really be thinking about right now is, what does this signal in terms of Donald Trump's intent for the FBI? The installation, or the nomination, I guess we should say at this point, of Cash Patel as FBI director can only possibly be a plan to disrupt, to dismantle, to distract the FBI, and to possibly use it as a tool for the president's political agenda. And, you know, as an organization, we know what that looks like. This country has been there before, right? The pre-Watergate FBI, the J. Edgar Hoover FBI, struck fear in the hearts of Americans across the spectrum of politicians, people in entertainment, people in the civil rights community, because the director operated at the direction of presidents to collect political intelligence and to utilize the legal authorities, the investigative authorities of the FBI to terrorize and intimidate Americans. So the question is that where we're going back to with this nomination? I would argue that Cash Patel would be the perfect person for Donald Trump to nominate if that's in fact his intent for the FBI.
Sounds like a good pick to me. I don't know about y'all, but, you know, looking darn good to me. But, hey, carry on.
Is there enough backbone there, do you think, to defeat multiple nominees?
I don't know. I think it's possible. And look, we saw it with Matt Gaetz already, and I think that I was actually surprised how quickly that happened. To me, Cash Patel, and I don't say this lightly, is the most dangerous nominee that we've seen yet to our democracy. I mean, you might think that having Pete Hegseth running the military is a greater level of danger because of his lack of experience, or Tulsi Gabbard at intelligence. But just as far as, you know, the threats to democracy that we were warning about before the election, and Cash Patel was a key player inside the Trump White House, pushing for and orchestrating the coup attempt in 2020. He was trying to completely take control of the Justice Department at the time. He was Trump's top lieutenant, who was willing to do anything and advance any lie in service of his attempt to overturn that last election, to such a degree that there were many people that were Trump appointees in 2020 who were staying around and saying no, like standing in the breach and saying, no, not Cash Patel. Like, you cannot put Cash Patel as a temporary leader of the Justice Department, et cetera. These are Trump appointees. And so, you know, we'll see what happens in the Senate. But if Trump had people around him that were quasi-loyalists that were like, that guy's too far, who knows what that'll mean for the Senate.
It means the Senate better fall in line, or else they will be primaried. Okay. As a matter of fact, I think I saved, because Elon Musk posted again. Yeah. Hey, Elon Musk is not playing around. He is not playing around. Elon Musk had talked about, says that Republican senators will face an immediate primary challenge if they vote against Cash Patel for FBI director. That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about. That's the type of Republicans, that I want in the Republican Party. Now, obviously, I don't run the Republican Party, but that's what I want to see, and I want to hear from Republicans in the Republican Party. And I said that the Republican Party will shift towards that, and come 2028 will mainly be that, right? People like Elon Musk who mean business. Hey, if you stand in the way, we will get you out of the way, okay? And I'm not that's not a threat to anybody physically, obviously, but you will be primary. You will be voted out. You will be Liz Cheney'd, cast to the Democrat Party, never to be spoken about again in the Republican. Well, maybe you might be even worse than Liz Cheney, right? Get voted out in an even worse landslide, and you become the new Liz Cheney, right? But yeah, I could see, someone like Susan Collins being Liz Cheney and voted out by a landslide. Lisa Murkowski, I believe that's her name, voted out like Liz Cheney. Chuck Schumer, who is rumored to be running again in 2026. Oh, bro, listen. If I believe it's out of Kentucky. If y'all mother lovers vote for that scumbag again, let me tell you, how does this mother lover keep winning elections? Hey, bro, this has to be the end for did I say Chuck Schumer? Mitch McConnell. I don't even know what I said at this point. Mitch McConnell. Okay, if Mitch McConnell gets voted in again, I believe he's from Kentucky. We're gonna have a long talk, Kentucky. We're gonna have a long mother loving talk. Okay, ain't no way this man should win ever again. Who else was on there? John Curtis, I believe, was the fourth that didn't want Matt Gaetz to be confirmed. So yeah, all four of them primaried. All four of them. But there's a reason why, these folks are afraid of Cash Patel. And here's a couple of them.
Criminal prosecutions. Cash, I know you're probably going to be head of the CIA, but do you believe that you can deliver the goods on this in a pretty short order the first couple of months so we can get rolling on prosecutions?
Yes, we got the bench for it, Bannon, and you know those guys. I'm not going to go out there and say their names right now so the radical left-wing media can terrorize them. But, excuse me, the one thing we learned in the Trump administration the first go-around is we got to put in all-America patriots top to bottom. And we got them for law enforcement. We got them for intel collection. We got them for offensive operations. We got them for DOD, CIA, everywhere. And the one thing we will do that they never will do is we will follow the facts and the law and go to courts of law and correct these justices and lawyers who have been prosecuting these cases based on politics and actually issuing them as lawfare. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out. But yeah, we're putting you all on notice. And Steve, this is why they hate us. This is why we're tyrannical. This is why we're dictators, because we're actually going to use the Constitution to prosecute them for crimes they said we have always been guilty of, but never have.
Can't argue with that, baby. Can't argue with that. But once again, that's one of the reasons why they are afraid of this guy. He means business. He means business. Here's another reason why.
I'm not saying it's not there. Who are you going to get that?
For instance, who is currently holding, this is way off the topic, but who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book.
FBI.
But who? That is, I mean, there's...
Oh, that's under direct control of the director of the FBI. Just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said, this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list. You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released?
Come on now. that, I mean, like, that is absolutely wild. You know, the fact that we have a list out there of people who have harmed the young, innocent ones around us, amongst us, and we don't know who these folks are. Think about that for a minute. Think about that. That's pretty wild, ain't it? People who willingly did some horrific things to children, and they're being protected. It's pretty crazy. We live in a disgusting world, man. We live in an absolutely disgusting world. But Cash Patel, he's going to expose it. And there's going to be a lot of people on that list. And I'm just making an assumption that our jaw is going to drop. There's going to be some surprises on that list. From politicians. Yeah, guarantee you there's some politicians on that list. To, you know, some of our favorite celebrities, right? To everyone in between. World leaders from other countries. But like you said, that's why that list is being hidden, because of who's on it. It's not just regular, degular, schmegular folks like you and I, right? We're talking billionaires, leaders of countries or former leaders of countries, people in government that are on that list. That's why we haven't seen it. But also my speculation is that that list will be somehow destroyed or lost before Cash Patel walks in there. Remember I said that. That list will be lost. We misplaced it. We don't know where it is. But here's the manifesto. We have that. Take the manifesto, release that to the public. But the Epstein list, we don't know what happened to it. We just don't know. And if that happens, all of those people should be arrested immediately, in my humble opinion. Anyway, we do have some senators that are on board with Cash Patel. One of them being Ted Cruz.
Listen, I think Cash Patel is a very strong nominee. I think the entire slate of cabinet nominees President Trump has put forward is very strong. I believe every one of these cabinet nominees is going to be confirmed by the Senate. I think Cash Patel is going to be confirmed by the Senate. You look at his background. He has a serious professional background. He was a prosecutor. He was a public defender. He was a senior intelligence staffer on Capitol Hill. He was a senior intelligence staffer in the White House. He was the chief of staff of the Department of Defense. He was the deputy director of national intelligence. And I got to say, all of the weeping and gnashing of teeth, all of the people pulling their hair out, are exactly the people who are dismayed about having a real reformer come into the FBI and clean out the corrupted partisans who sadly have burrowed into senior career positions at the FBI. The FBI and the Department of Justice are two institutions incredibly important to the rule of law in the United States. I revere both. And one of the most tragic consequences of 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is both DOJ and the FBI have been politicized and weaponized. And I think Cash Patel is a very strong nominee to take on the partisan corruption in the FBI.
Yeah. So, I mean, shout out to Ted Cruz. Not the most, Republican, right? His Liberty score, I believe, is like a B. Yeah, I think it's a B. And, another senator who is speaking out in favor of Cash Patel is Bill Hagerty, who also has a score of a B on the Liberty score. So, two folks that they could use some improvement. A B isn't perfect, but it's acceptable. We're going to need that to be bumped up to an A, but they're not a C or a D, which a D is my cutoff line. Anything D and below, you gotta go. C and above, I guess you could stay. All right. Anyway, here's Bill Hagerty.
I've encouraged President Trump to bring Cash Patel to the table for precisely this reason. Unlike Jake, I understand his resistance to talk about Cash, but I'm more than happy to talk about him. He represents the type of change that we need to see in the FBI. If you think about the failures of background checks that have taken place, how could we have somebody like Colin Kahl who tweeted out classified information? I went to the FBI myself. They ignored me. Basically, he was confirmed on a party line vote in the U.S. Senate with Kamala Harris breaking the tie to put this person that should not even have a security clearance in the third most powerful position at DOD. You've got Rob Malley. I don't know how he cleared an FBI check. He's now under investigation. His ties to the Iranian influence regime that worked with him and for him. Ariane Talatabi, who is still at the DOD, should never clear an FBI background check. This entire agency needs to be cleaned out. It's not doing its job. And if you look at what happened, the politicization that took place back in 2016, when senior leaders of the FBI collaborated and conspired to try to keep President Trump out of office. And then when he came into office, they put together this fake Russiagate investigation that hindered the Trump administration for the first several years. Look at 2020. Look at what happened there with the fake Hunter Biden story that the FBI leadership worked together with big tech to censor the Hunter Biden laptop that allowed President Biden to basically fool the American public and come into office. There are serious problems at the FBI. The American public knows it. They expect to see sweeping change, and Cash Patel is just the type of person to do it.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Bill Haggerty out of Tennessee. Great job, Tennessee. You got a pretty good one there. Like I said, he has a Liberty score of a B as well, 88%. So acceptable. Let me pull up Ted Cruz real quick. I just want to double check. I believe his is a B as well. Yeah, 88%. Yep. So I was right. Right on. Ted Cruz is out of Texas. Yes, Texas. So yeah, there are some members of the GOP that are on board. I'm sure people like Lisa Murkowski were still going to have some type of issue with, where's she at? Lisa, this chick. But, I mean, are we surprised? Look at her score. An F, 29%. 29%. Susan may provide some pushback as well. Susan Collins, not shocking, not shocking at all. She has an F, 20%. She might as well be a Democrat with a score like that. Seriously, she might as well be a Democrat. I believe there's Democrats with 20%. What's her name? Jeez, oh crap. Where is she? Is it Minnesota that she's out of? Why am I drawing a blank? Oh, yes. Look, Ilhan Omar, 22%. That is shameful. Susan Murkowski has the same score as Ilhan Omar. Wow. Incredible. Anyway, yeah, she's got to go. Maine, you know what to do. It's going to be a while. I don't think she's up for re-election until 28. So it's going to be a while. But I will be reminding you all, come 2028, as well as anybody else who has a score of a D or lower on the Liberty score, I will be reminding y'all about every single one of them. Tom Emmer just got reelected. Goodness gracious. Anyway, Cash Patel is about to be the director. I do believe that Trump will get this through. I think the Matt Gaetz effect was a smart move. You put somebody out there that's super controversial, at least to them. He's not controversial to me. I like Matt Gaetz, but you put somebody out there that's overly controversial, and so you raise the bar way, way up there, and then you throw in somebody like Cash Patel, who's he's gonna be a bull in a china shop, but he's not as controversial as Matt Gaetz. So now Cash Patel seems like a bit more of a normal pick, right, to the establishment. That may have been what Trump was trying to do with Matt Gaetz. I don't know. Y'all let me know your thoughts and your opinions. But I'm excited. Trump seems to be putting together a fantastic team of people that is going to shake this whole thing up. And I love to hear it. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.